Welcome to Organise and Display Data. So we're going to have a look at different ways that we can actually organise and display our data. So the first couple we're going to look at are column graphs and dot plots. And these can represent numerical and categorical data. So your column graph has a column for each, so the height of each column represents the number of occurrences. You can draw it vertically or horizontally. And there's a gap between each column. That's something you just need to be aware of. And with our dot plots, we just represent a dot for each value. And here's some examples. So looking at our table down the bottom, so the frequency represents how many times something occurs. So the 0 occurs twice, the 1 occurs 3 times, the 2 5 times, the 3 times, and the 4 occurs twice. And you can see that represented on our column graph. Here's our dot plot for the same data. So there was the 0 had 2, so we got 2 dots above it. The 1 had 3 dots above it, etc. The other three that we're going to look at for this one is a line graph, a sector graph, and a divided bar graph. So a line graph is just joining the dots. It's a series of points, and we just join them by straight lines. So we'll do it for the same examples that we just had. The sector graph, that's where you have a circle divided up into each section, and it's a fraction of 360 degrees. So we just take a percentage or a fraction of the 360 degrees, and that's what we split each sector into. And a divided bar graph works similarly, but rather than a circle, it's just a rectangle. And we divide it into each of the proportions. So it's a fraction of the total width. So here's our line graph just joining for our data before. It's just joining all of the dots. Here's our pie chart or our sector graph. So you'll notice that each one is represented by the percentage or the fraction of 360 degrees. And finally, we've just got an example of a divided bar graph where you can see that each part is represented by a fraction of the total length of the rectangle. It's just split into each different part. Thank you.